Welcome back to the KSU podcast. My name is Casey Herring and this is my co-host.
Kendra Brewer.
And today we have an exciting episode for you guys. We have Savannah in the background. But we also have all the moms here with us. This is my mom, Sandy. This is Connie, Kendra's mom, Karen, Zoe's mom, and Savannah's mom, Carrie. But yeah, so we've been planning this one out forever, it seems like, basically since we started. So
Yeah.
yep, and we have plenty of questions. We had Savannah look them over for us, and I think they're pretty good.
I agree.
Be scared.
Yeah, that's what Carrie was. Carrie was scared.
Yeah.
Alright, so if we want to go ahead and start, or
Yeah.
anything to say before we start? Anybody have anything to say?
I just didn't want Casey to spell it.
I was so honored to be here.
I'm just really excited for the first question. So everyone ready?
Oh boy.
Okay.
Who's hungover on Wednesday? Raise your hand. Right, good.
Good. We have at least one.
So that's my mom. Sorry.
We're all jealous.
So yeah, and then we're just gonna kind of like get a history. So like, what was your style in school?
Back in high school,
Yeah.
college, what was your style if you had to put a name on
I
it?
know you had the big
Oh, you have to
hair.
put a name
Oh,
on it.
yeah.
You can
Oh,
just
yeah.
describe
Just
it.
describe,
Yeah.
describe.
Totally big hair.
Hair was
Yeah.
feathered.
Yeah.
80s, yeah.
Oh,
80s
yeah.
hair.
80s big hair
Yeah.
or really short because I was in sports.
Yeah,
So
I always
it's
had a perm in high
Perm?
school and
Jealous.
probably
The big
Look.
blonde, long perm hair with the big
With-
swoosh.
just spray hairspray the sides.
Yes, yes,
Aquanet.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta be awkward.
White red. White red.
White rain, yes.
These two are
We had the white rain shampoo
looking
too.
so
Yes,
What
yes.
are you talking
I
about?
don't know any of these words. I've never heard of anything of this.
So Guess jeans were super popular.
Oh, yeah.
Rolling your
Rolling your
like
jeans
pinch
up.
rolling, like the
Yeah.
boat shoes.
Oh,
Yes.
The pinch roll has come
Pinch
back.
roll.
Yes.
Oh, that's always good.
And then you had the boat shoes, but you didn't tie them. You like wrapped them around the end so they were like a knot. Did you do that?
I did not do that. No, I did
Oh.
LA gears. Like the big high top LA gears. Do you
Yes,
remember
I had
those,
high
guys?
top Reeboks.
Yes.
Oh.
Or the Reeboks, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
white
Yeah,
Reeboks.
Scrunchies.
Yes.
Scrunchies, which I was glad to see they come back.
And those socks.
Oh,
What
yes.
were those?
Yeah,
Leg
yeah, yeah.
warmers?
Like
Yes.
warmers. Yes. Yes.
That was like early.
Yeah.
It was early 80s.
Well, I grew up in Minnesota, so we had moon boots.
Oh yeah.
Parachute pants.
Yes. Parachute pants. We had those.
Look up,
And-
look
He
up
had
parachute
parachute
pants.
pants.
Black
Yes.
parachute pants.
He had red ones.
Yes. Red.
Red.
Yeah.
And that's how I met your mother.
I wasn't dating him at the time.
Not
You mean at the circus?
No. No, he's anti-circus.
Anti-circus.
No, we started
no
dating
fun.
after high school.
What was like, so like, speaking of high school, like what was the drama? Like, is there specific drama from high school that just like
Remember?
sticks
Oh, the
with you?
smoking kids.
Who was smoking in
Scud-
the
we call
boys'
them
room?
scuds.
They
Yes.
would
Those
go
were the
outside
scuds.
and they'd always hide around the corner.
It's like a universal thing.
I went to Jeff and we actually had a smoking like area outside Jeff when I went to school.
For the kids?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
It was
Oh,
right
yeah.
on, yeah, it was like a little balcony area. Yeah.
But the smokers were all like,
Like
You-
nowadays, that's the Jewel podcast.
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, the
Drama.
smoking thing was always, that was a click.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if we really had any high school drama.
Ours
Yes.
was, one chick came in with alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
got busted.
That's the thing. That's
I
universal.
remember that.
It's
Yeah.
universal.
Yeah.
That was unfortunate. And who's pregnant nowadays? Everybody's getting engaged nowadays.
I feel like the pregnancy
I
is
know.
less prevalent now
Yeah.
than it was
Do you-
when
do
we
you
were in
think so?
high school, yeah.
Because as moms yell at their children as they're going out the door, no babies, right?
Now, here's something
Well,
weird.
I think we're more comfortable in this generation talking to our kids about.
I completely
That's-
agree.
Because we
Because
know
my
what
parents
we
were
were
like,
doing at that.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah, my
we
parents
know
don't
it's
talk
gonna
about that
happen.
kind of
You
stuff.
don't talk about
No,
that.
no.
No, I was at a Christmas party a couple weeks ago, and it was Dead Rob was there. And
Mhm.
so two of her boys that just had kids, and their wives, and at some point she blurted out, she's like, well, it's David's turn. I'm like, well, he's not even married. Who cares? Just have babies. I just want grandbabies. I was like, no, but apparently it's changing. Yeah. I was like, no babies.
No babies.
Yeah.
No,
Not
A
yet.
lot of work.
No,
It takes more than one person to figure that out.
That's
normally. All right. Is it for our favorite childhood memory that they like, or their favorite childhood memory?
I think it's like, what's your favorite childhood memory?
Of our growing up or
Of
your
your
growing?
Of you guys
Us
growing up.
growing, well, you know mine.
We'll start with you, Sandy.
You know what mine is. I had to teach the ducks to swim.
Oh, that's right.
What?
My mom and dad would give me ducks at Easter, and I was little, and they said since they didn't have a mom, I had to teach them how to swim. 3 summers. This took me all summer, 3 summers. I got 3 different sets. Started in the kitchen sink, graduated to the bathtub, then to the stock tank, and at the end of the summer, when they had all their feathers, we'd all waddle up to the pond.
Okay.
Mama Bird Sandy.
Mama, I had to teach them how to swim. So there you go.
Carrie, do you have a favorite childhood memory?
I guess the first thing that pops to my mind is, since it's around Christmas time, is we would always go to my grandparents for Christmas Eve and wake up there Christmas morning. And my parents always arranged it so that Santa came in the middle of the night and they would wake us up
Mhm.
and we would sneak downstairs and we would catch Santa in the act.
Nice.
Yeah, and then he would send us to, he wouldn't talk to us, but he would send us to bed with, like, we would always get a doll and like a big candy cane. And then he'd
That's
send us
sweet.
back up to bed, so.
So
that
somebody-
was, yeah, so that was just real magical, I guess.
Who was it that was dressed up?
It was actually the neighbor of my grandparents, but of course I didn't recognize him, you know, because he
Yeah.
was Santa. Yeah.
Did you see him crawling into the chimney at all, or?
No. It was just in the middle of the night, and he always acted like we caught him in the act.
Kyle was telling me, my brother, he was like, yeah, I figured out Santa wasn't real when my dad told him he was invisible. Like, he was like fine with the man that could fit through the chimney, but my dad was like, no, he's invisible. He's like, no. He's fake. No.
I
was like,
remember let's see. No, you weren't born yet, because we still lived off of.
Hamburger.
And we came back. Yeah, we came back from Minnesota. It was around Easter time, and your dad was insistent. Like, I need to get in the house, and I'm gonna leave chocolate and eggs and stuff for Kyle. So we get out of the car after a 9-hour drive from Minnesota, and Bob goes running in the house, and Kyle wanted to go in. He's, no, you stay outside. I was like, happy Easter. Kyle was old enough. I mean, he was like 5, 6, and he's like, what is he doing? I'm like, I don't know. Let's just hang here for a while. And at some point, Kyle just kind of casually goes, you know, there is no Easter bunny. I'm like, okay, kind of ruining this. And he gets in there and your
Not
dad,
telling your
like,
dad.
yeah, Bob's got stuff all over the house. I'm like, well, this.
do you remember when I had like a breakdown crying because I thought the Easter Bunny was inside the house and I was scared? I don't know why I thought the Easter Bunny was scary. Like,
He's calling me.
I thought he was like a full-grown man. Like,
A lot of kids are scared of the Easter Bunny, though.
yeah.
So that's a college job, and then we'll go back to their favorite memories. But as a college job, you are the Easter Bunny, and you get to wear the suit, and you have to look out his mouth.
Oh, fun.
The suit's really hot.
I was gonna say. Oh,
I did that. I was a Care Bear.
Yeah.
which Care Bear were you?
I don't remember.
Cheers, but I don't remember.
That was my favorite. She was pink.
All right, Karen, what is your favorite childhood memory?
Definitely Christmas.
Christmas?
Christmas was just always so exciting, magical, you know, and I was a true believer in Santa Claus, and I was devastated when I found out he wasn't real.
Okay, how did you find out?
My second grade teacher told us,
Oh.
and I didn't believe her, and I went home and went and looked in my parents' closet and found
Oh.
gifts, and I was devastated. I cried and cried and cried, and my mom would always tell the story that I went and hid underneath my bed and cried and like I was so upset. Excuse me, I'm like, you lied to me all these years, and to my mom.
True.
So, yeah, that was devastating. But so Christmas was always great at our house, and then as we got older, my mom started having some of our really close family friends over, and then so on Christmas Eve we would have this big party, and we kept it going after my mom died, and did that for years. So that was just always special. And then another favorite memory is I spent a lot of time with my dad, and we always went on bike rides. So
Sweet.
that's a good memory.
There you go. I don't remember on that Santa thing. I was trying to remember when I figured out Santa Claus wasn't real.
Grown-ups. I've tied together since Tooth Fairy wasn't real. No way could Santa.
Oh yeah.
I turned and looked at my mom and was like, so Santa's not real?
Yeah, you're right. It was the Tooth Fairy that you figured that part out. It was like put it all together and you went, yeah, there's none.
Yeah.
Oh, Tooth Fairy? No, Easter Bunny.
Well, Zoe was
Let's
like
go.
asking me if Santa was real, and so she said, and swear your heart to God you're gonna tell me the truth. And so I'm like,
She's like,
Well, now I'm
right,
cornered,
right. So I told her, no, he's not real. I'm Santa, and I'm the Tooth Fairy, and she's like just this, the wind went out of her sail. She was sitting there, and then she said, so when I said, yeah, and I'm the Tooth Fairy, and she said, so when Ellie loses a tooth, you are her Tooth Fairy too. And Ellie's two doors down. I'm like, no. Her mom is her Tooth Fairy.
You're busy in that neighborhood. You're really busy in the neighborhood.
You're a celebrity if you're everybody's.
Right.
It's blinking red.
Yeah, that should be fine. I was just making sure because I saw it blinking, but I'm just gonna make sure the numbers are still running, right?
Yes.
Cool.
But Addison says that she realized that the Tooth Fairy wasn't real when she got up. There was no money under her pillow, and she came and woke me up. I mean, she was just as devastated, and she said the Tooth Fairy didn't come. And I'm like nudging Kenny, and so he gets up and goes and puts stuff under her pillow, and I said, are you sure you looked everywhere? Let's go look. And well, behold, there's money. And so then she's like, she knew that Kenny did it. So, she's no dummy.
not the red parachute man.
I had to one time do the same thing, and I had to improvise, and I had like, light colored eyeshadow, and I like put little Tooth Fairy dust all over the windowsill and up their pillows. Tooth
That's
Fairy.
extra.
Yeah.
You're extra.
I had to improvise really quick.
My son literally lost a tooth and did not tell us. Because it was like, we didn't know it was like one of the ones that you don't see or whatever. Put it under his pillow and did not tell us. And so
Then devastated.
finally, we had the conversation like a couple nights later or whatever. I don't know. And I literally was like, well, the Tooth Fairy does go in alphabetical order. And so maybe, she just hasn't gotten to us yet. I totally
That's
just like
good
pulled
thinking.
that out of the air. I know. I was like,
Yeah.
because it was young enough to where it was like, hey. But like if he would have come out and asked me, I would have, because I don't want to lie, but.
I still have a Ziploc bag with it. You're
Really?
like,
And they come
yeah,
home from school with like the little molar.
yeah, I still have that
Because
one.
I remember I was
She
like
lost it
4th
at
grade.
school.
It was like in a span of like a month. I lost like 4.
Same.
And I was
That was-
pulling them out.
I was bored in school. I blew them
And
out.
my nurse, she was like, what?
I think there was one time it was one day, and then the next day she's like, "You must have another tooth."
I would
still
spin
have all
them
my kids'
backwards.
teeth. Do you still have your all your kids' teeth? Yeah,
I
I still
have-
have them.
yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It is weird.
I
but-
gotta get rid of
As
those.
they get older, they'll break. They'll start to like some of them that I have like broken open, and
Take
it's
that.
kind of weird.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know why.
We get Connie's
Compensation.
memory.
Whatever. Probably
We keep going like
Christmas.
this.
Yeah, Christmas. So my mom is notorious for like a huge number of gifts.
Uh-huh.
It's yeah.
I saw
And
it.
so the tree is just massive gifts under there. And so grew up Catholic. We'd go to midnight mass, and then so then it'd be and then it'd be like 2 a.m. or something, and we'd get home. And at that point, she'd just break out drinks, and we'd sit around and we'd open gifts for hours.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah, in the middle of the
Fun.
night. We used to do that. But I remember sometimes she would wrap the most ridiculous things, like a box of tampons. And I mean, she
Well,
would
you should. You're gonna use them.
Yeah.
I remember I started my period and she sent I still have the pads because I don't really use pads. I have so many. What do I do with this?
She used to
Wrap them to
weird
the homeless,
stuff.
or, yeah,
That
the homeless
is
shelters
so-
and stuff, 'cause
Yeah,
they're always
that's
looking
good.
for that.
That's a good idea.
There's all kinds of women's shelters that need that kind of stuff. Yep.
Yeah, throw some toothpaste, some toothbrushes, and that
Yep,
kind of stuff.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Donate.
Yeah, Karen's husband is a extreme couponer, so she has like closets full of deodorant and paper,
Not by my choice.
tampons.
Kenny's the extreme. Well, I can see they've got 3 girls, so I can
When-
understand the need for.
When
It is
the pandemic hit, everybody was hitting her up for toilet paper. When they couldn't find toilet paper.
Yeah, it's in our basement. It's up to the ceiling.
That's how Judy was. We
Yeah.
went down to her basement and I like walked in and I was like, so this is where.
No, we had it way before the pandemic. So
Oh.
yes, so
Go
there's
back
no
in.
guilt there. I mean,
They were
but we were
prepared
prepared.
for it.
Yeah.
I bet Kim was like, see, paid off.
But I did. I
Yeah,
went to people's
it was.
houses and took them toilet paper.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, like, just because, like, that's funny because it kind of like wraps to our next thing. What's like your husband or ex-husband's? No offense. Pet peeve.
Not
like,
offended. What's me?
Yep, got one.
What's your pet peeve for your
Yeah.
spouse or ex-spouse?
yeah, so we'll start with you because he's an
Oh,
ex, so
gosh.
that's really
Oh.
easy.
Oh, he was pouty. And my
Hi, Bob.
does he listen to this?
No.
No.
Okay.
I don't think he even knows about it.
So,
Find it.
my family started, they nicknamed him Pouty Bob. Because if he didn't get his way, like we'd be vacationing with my family and stuff, and he'd want to do something, and somebody would be like, "Oh no, we're gonna do X, Y, Z," and then he pout. But he does. He gets pouty.
So does Kyle. That's right.
Learned behavior.
Howdy, Kyle. Yeah, just before this, he texted me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm at Casey's. We're about to do a podcast." And he was like, "Well, can you help me move this chair?" I was like, "No."
A chair?
Yeah.
No.
Big strong Kyle can't move chair.
I don't know what he's doing. He was texting me a bit ago. Yeah.
Can you help me move this chair?
Connie, can you just tell me the time that's on that computer right there?
1748.
Okay, we're good then.
Pet peeve.
Pet peeve. No, Kenny's perfect.
Extreme couponing.
No, that is a pet peeve.
He's very punny.
He is
Um,
funny.
Well, one thing that is a pet peeve is he brings up things from the past.
Mm.
Like, let it go. Don't keep bringing it up, but he
Mhm.
holds on to things.
Holds a grudge a little bit.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, he's a grandfather.
Painful.
Mhm.
Painful.
Painful
It's
work
not
there.
healthy. Yeah.
Pulls up receipts too. He's like,
He's like, you sent this, so 5 years ago I
Yeah.
told you, I saw this. Like, what does this mean? Never talked about it. Carrie.
Probably my husband thinks everything's funny, therefore he laughed very loudly in movies to where you can't hear the next line of what's being said.
Don't go to movies with.
I don't.
with
We
Karen.
don't go to funny movies together. No, we don't.
go to like the Titanic.
I barely watch funny movies with them at home.
At home. Alright, mine's gonna have to be snoring. My husband snores
Yeah, I
like
mean,
a.
you can't help that.
Oh, but it's so loud.
And even all night, she just like plugs his nose.
I would like to, actually.
You should buy one of those beds that you can just like lift them up and down.
That doesn't be the next step. He can be folded in half.
She just holds him over in the middle of the night.
They're supposed to respond to the snoring, he would just end up being like this by the time it was done. And he just kept responding to it. I'm not gonna cut it out.
My dad's really bad about that. Because
Sorry.
when we would, for soccer, I travel a lot and we'd have to be in the same hotel room. And like, you put headphones in, but it was over the headphones.
Yeah, my mom snored like that.
Oh, you
too.
remember the night we were, I forget where we were.
I
and
lost
you-
my AirPod.
Yeah, she lost an AirPod in the middle of the night. And I'm like, well, it can't be far. Like, you started out, and it's like 2 in the morning. And she's got all the lights on in the hotel room, and she is flipping mattresses and.
Because I couldn't sleep anyways, so I might as well find it.
Well, finally it dawned on me they were magnetic. And so then we started looking at the bed frame, and sure enough, it had stuck to the bed frame. And then she was like, puts it in, and just lays back down in bed. And I was like, okay, it's 2 in the morning.
Now I'm awake
Here
too.
we go. Oh,
This
yeah.
the snoring thing.
Melting down.
My mom was a huge snore. I mean, she snored really loud. And one of my best friends had been over. It was in the winter. We'd been out with the neighbors snowmobiling. And so then we were in my room. And it was probably 11 o'clock at night. And she hears this noise and she's like, they're out. Let's go out snowmobiling. And it was my mom snoring in the next room.
It's not the snowmobile.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a snowmobile.
The best part is when they snore themselves awake, they're like, they like have a little stroke. Or Kyle and I would, my dad would always watch like NASCAR, and he falls asleep, so we were just, cars just go in a circle. So like we pick up the remote and change it,
And then
And
and then he
wake
wakes
up.
up and
Yes.
he's like, put it back. For
I'll
why?
watch that.
It's like he's
sleeping
white
for a
noise.
half hour. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
I imagine that. Yeah, Dad probably did the same thing. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I was watching that.
You were asleep for half an hour.
I
Right?
don't think you were actually.
And then you ask him what happened. He goes, I was watching it.
They were turning left.
For NASCAR?
NASCAR, they turned left.
Yeah.
Uncovered. Well, that really huh?
What was? So who's your favorite child?
Of everybody here, do I get to pick one or of my own?
Your own.
Oh.
Your own.
My
And-
own.
and-
Savannah's like,
Let's hear it. Mom, who's your favorite child?
Well, it's so hard to say, but hopefully your brother's not listening, but currently you are. Currently, today, we're going with you today.
Because I'm here.
Because you're here.
Okay, Carrie.
And you brought all my friends.
Coco. Dave.
No, like honestly, Savannah would say that she thinks Josh is my favorite child, and I'm sure Josh would say that he thinks that Savannah's my favorite child.
But it's Coco.
But
the dog.
but she really doesn't care about either. So.
yeah, but I don't have one. I love them with all my heart, and there's just no way to explain it. So
Very good. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Ditto to that.
Mhm.
So our Avery and Addison will definitely tell you that Zoe is my favorite, but I don't feel that way. I think Zoe's so easygoing and easy to talk to, and they're not. I mean, they like Avery is so closed off. She doesn't share. It's like
Oh.
pulling teeth to get her to talk. So I just have a different relationship with each one of them,
that's exactly.
but I don't love or think, one is my
Favorite. I was
over
gonna
the
choose
other.
Zoe too, but
Oh,
I
okay.
said I had to pick one of my own.
Zoe's like a grandma.
Yeah.
I
This
love
time.
them all, I mean, just in a different way, and I mean, I love them all three dearly and cherish
You
my
guys hear that?
relationship
Just
with
so you know
each one
that
of
Avery and
them.
Addison.
Mom loves you.
Is it blinking?
It is about. All right, so we're gonna have to cut this one right here. Potty break for anybody that needs to.
Yoga when we come back.
Okay.
And then yeah, we'll get Connie at the end, and then we'll be right back. Yes.
Right back.
Delete.
Refills.
We're back. After the break, they got snacks and more wine, of course. Karen had one more thing to say. What she was
Well,
saying
about the
before.
favorite child thing,
Uh-huh.
and I said that if you asked Avery or Addison, they would say Zoe, and I hate that they feel that way.
Yeah.
That bothers me, because I don't want them to feel that way. That's all I want to say.
I hope they're watching. I'll send this to them directly.
Yeah.
Mom loves
They
you.
will understand once they have children. They will.
Because you have to treat them differently. They're
Yeah.
they're different people. They don't want to
Right,
be treated the
exact-
same.
yeah.
They're different people. So,
Right.
yep, have a different relationship.
Get it.
Treat them fairly, but you can't necessarily treat them all the same because they're not all the same.
They're not the
Right.
same.
Treat them fairly, not the same.
Connie.
Connie.
Who do you think I?
I know I was your favorite during the divorce because I was there.
Just so you know.
Just saying.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you and I have more in common. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just easier now. Now that you're older, really didn't like you when you were about 13.
I
Who
didn't like
does
me
like
either.
their
probably.
Teenage daughters are
Yeah.
And I will tell her. I'll
I
tell
probably
her
went to her room and she was like,
There's still times I'm just like, oh, she's going back to Kokomo.
and I'm like, can you bring wine?
But I will tell people, like, I did notice that, like, a flip of the switch for you. Like, I was like, and I put it together, I was like, oh, she wants a car. she started being much nicer. Like, and I was like, is this like hormonal? Is she growing up, or does she just want that car? Because she did magically become much nicer to deal with when she got closer.
Well, because
to
I
like
also
15.
wasn't there all the time because I drove away a lot.
Oh, when you got the car.
Yeah.
But I'm saying before the car and everything.
You're
Like,
trying to butter
yeah,
her up.
butter. Yeah,
Well,
sure.
I never really cared about
Ulterior
the car.
motives.
I know. But my thought, like, I always knew, like, you guys were gonna get me a car. I wasn't,
Yeah.
like, ever worried I wasn't gonna have one.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's probably... I got less
Yeah,
ugly in high
Kyle's-
school.
Yeah, probably.
I stopped hating the world a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyle's always been, because of the divorce, he was always sort of off for a couple of years, and then he's come back around now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we have a nice mix. You have a son and a daughter. You have a son and a daughter. You have all daughters, and I have all sons.
Good mix.
And it's older son, younger daughter.
Oh,
Older son,
Flip-flopped.
younger daughter.
Flip flopped.
Mm-hmm.
Girls were easier than boys, or boys were easier than girls.
No. Well, like, as far as, like, my children go, like, Savannah was more of she was, like, both my kids were easygoing growing up, but, like, as a teenager, she was more,
A
like,
pain in the
challenging,
ass.
because,
Yeah.
no, but here's the thing,
The
is,
2 a.m.
like,
garage door.
she's like me, we're both Leos. You know, and Leos, but yeah, and so we had, like, one day we would be, oh my gosh, you're getting on my nerves, and the next day we're like, oh my god, you're my best friend, come here and let me tell you something, you know what I mean? So, and then when she moved out, moved away, I feel like that even, like, brought us, like, closer,
Yep.
even though she's further away, I don't know.
Your time together is better.
Yes,
Because you know there's a certain time limit.
yeah.
Because then you can leave. What was the, like, worst part of adulting for you guys? Because, like, we're kind of just getting into, like,
Mm-hmm. From like us, our age, forward. What's
From-
some
we're almost out of the teen years.
So what is,
Hey, Dad.
Hi.
Special.
special guest Drew?
You heard the word Bloody Mary. You don't have to.
No, wait, repeat the question.
so what's the hardest thing?
Being an adult.
Being an adult, like adulting. Yeah, that's mad confusing.
Like before kids or married?
Yeah,
or,
because like we're about to be
where
20.
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. 20 moving forward.
What's the hard part?
There's just so many, like, responsibilities. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's a house or rent or, you know, whatever you have, and then mortgage or rent, and bills and
Work.
work.
Mine was, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. You know, I was going to school and I was working, but I like just really didn't know what I wanted to be.
Did you find out what you wanted to be?
I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
Good thing I asked you about that. We can work through this. Oh yeah. So back to how's menopause.
Yeah, how's
it's
life?
awesome.
We
It's the best time. It's so fun.
I
Are you
went
being sarcastic?
through.
no.
So this
Okay.
was
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
2 years ago,
I'm very
2 years
sarcastic.
ago, I think it was. And my doctor's like, basically said, well, we can do a blood test and we'll just see how far you are. And so they're gonna check your hormone levels. So this is like right, I get the results like the day before New Year's. And so there's this like a scale, like somewhere between like 2 and 6. The measurement is like estrogen level, I think it was, or whatever it was. But between like 2 and 6, you're like menstruating totally normal. And then they consider like from 8 to 20, you're considered like perimenopause, like kind of getting into menopause. And then once you're over 20, then you're supposedly postmenopause, right? So IU has the app, you know, and you can look at the results. I look at the results and it was like 110.
Oh.
And I was like, well, what does that mean? It's like, well, Happy New Year to me. This game is over. Didn't even know.
110%?
I didn't even study.
Had no idea.
Amen.
But
So that means you were post-menopause, so like you already had the symptoms?
like I had gone all the way through menopause and didn't even know it. But part of the problem was, one is I had an IUD for like 15 years, so I never had a period, so I didn't know. So then the doctor was like, well, we'll go ahead and take out your IUD, and I was like, are you sure? Like, you sure? Because I'm not gonna have a period again. And she's like, no, you won't, and I never did.
And you didn't have the hot flashes?
No, but I do now have more problems. Like I'll tell Brent all the time, I'm like, yeah, my thermostat is way broken.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
the worst
get-
part for me.
Yeah, I don't get, like, my sister, she went in menopause really early, like 30 something, 38, and she said she'd wake up soaking the sheets, the hair wet, and I just go like hot cold, like
I'm that too.
blake it on, blake it off, blake it on,
Yeah.
blake it off. Like a ridiculous
That's
game.
the worst part. I mean, I'm fine with no period. But
Absolutely.
the hot flashes are killing me.
I just wish there was like a line. It was like, okay,
Start.
you're done now.
Yeah.
Done.
Instead of
Right, you're
the
done.
whole flogging all over the place with.
Exactly. Yeah, because it comes and
It
goes,
comes
comes
and
and
goes,
goes,
yeah.
comes
It's
and
like,
goes.
okay,
And then,
as of this date,
yeah.
you're done. It's like, yay.
Well, the hot flashes would go like that. Just be done.
Yeah.
They say
Right.
that they'll last a long time. Like
Oh, yeah.
years.
Right, they can
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
years.
Even
years.
like in my case, with the hormones and everything says it's done, but that's the one thing that lingers.
Yeah.
So
So I,
times. Are you so glad you asked this question?
Yeah. I'm fine. I mean, I
he
don't.
lives with me. He's
Well,
alright
and
with that.
poor Kenny, you know, he is
I don't
on
have to deal
blood
with it.
thinners, and so I'm always freezing him out. I mean, he wears sweats and a sweatshirt with a hood to bed because I'll open the window because I'm dying and he's freezing. But I don't know.
I'll just go sleep
I'll
outside.
throw my fish
I'm just like,
I feel like it sometimes. I would be happy outside.
that's actually terrible.
Have fun.
Yeah, it's not anything to look forward to.
No, it's not.
So what was like your least favorite memory of us as children?
Mm-hmm.
Like what is one like
Like
core
yesterday, you
memory?
didn't do the dishes. All the time.
I've done your dishes since I've been back.
But they're your dishes, they're not mine.
They were your dishes.
You made a drink last night. Shame on you.
But is there like
Age?
one like when you were younger or something and you were like,
One there is.
God, I wish I never had children.
Oh,
Like,
What?
you were just like,
I've never had that.
There's a
I've never had
No.
that thought
Yeah,
at
me
all.
either. No,
Um,
never, ever.
I
I
was
wish I
not.
could take this kid out right now.
I've had that thought.
I used to tell my kids,
I brought you into this world. I
nope, nope.
I've heard that.
I would say, like, if I would tell them to stop doing something or whatever, and I would say, listen, I'm gonna take you back to the hospital and get a new one. And then we went past the hospital, home hospital, after it was to the ground in shambles, just a pile of rubbish, right? And we go by and she goes, well, I guess you can't take me back to the hospital. You're right, you're
Not
right.
that one.
Yeah.
I remember one time, you were pretty young, and we were in the car. I don't know where we were going. You mouthed off something, and
Did you say like get out?
Yeah.
We were going up to the house, to the old house at West Point, and you're like get out, and I was like let me out, and you're like you're not walking. I was like well you told me to get out.
That was one of those where I overplayed my car. Because I was just going. I was like, oh crap.
I didn't scare her like I thought I was going to.
Yeah, I was screaming like a mad woman. Just get out, get out. I was like, oh shit, get out.
Lock the doors, child
Get
locks
in
off.
trouble.
I think the worst thing is when you guys lie right to our face, and we know, like, you're lying. And I mean, it's just so disheartening. And
Yeah.
Because we think we're so
Right.
stupid.
We're like, you're so dumb, and we already know. But just that lying is
Well,
what.
that's like one of the questions leading up. I'll just skip to it. Is there like a specific time you know your child is lying to you, but you knew they thought they were sneaky, like getting away with it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. His older brother lied right to my face. I mean, I don't hardly trust much that come out of his mouth for like the whole high school years. And I got so mad at him, I turned to Casey and go, you need to go to your room. It's gonna get ugly in here. And Casey, he hightailed into his room, and I backed his brother onto the couch. And he's probably at least by this time 6 inches taller than me at this because I'm not very tall. And I backed him onto the couch, and he fell on the couch, and I had him by the shoulder, just bouncing him off the couch. I wanted to grab him around the neck, but I didn't. Grabbed him on the shoulder.
Morals.
That time I rethought it, and I called my best friend, and I said, you better come over and get your kid, because he's going to be dead in about 10 minutes. I hung up, and here comes Susan. So about 10 minutes later, I said, she's like, what do you do now? I'm like, he's lying. I calmed down a little bit. That was my, you remember that vividly, don't you?
I was.
It wasn't him, but it was his older brother.
I said my
Teenagers think we're done.
Yeah.
I heard it. No, I heard it go down.
His dad was working nights, so it was all me
Yeah,
for a
it's
while.
like, keep lying, you're just digging yourself a hole deeper.
Deeper, deeper, deeper.
And then we're like, we're so good.
No
way.
And I was watching. I was like,
Don't do that.
don't do that.
I had the wool pulled over my eyes about a couple things, but she ended up telling me about it, like
Yeah.
within the last year. So I've been fooled. I mean,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I was decent. I was decent.
And finally,
Also,
that
I
way,
mean,
finally, I was
now
like,
I just
I
like
should
laugh
keep
at it.
it.
I mean,
You
and I know like
like,
a lot of it is just like, it's teenager stuff
figure-
that you're
yeah,
gonna
teenager
do,
stuff, yes.
but just, I don't know, being deceitful and it's hurtful. And then it breaks the trust for sure, especially the sneaking out. I mean, that just breaks the trust. And, you know, that's just a worry that I don't wanna have.
I never snuck out because you always just let me out.
Whatever, I've watched your podcast.
I've never snuck
She
out
didn't.
personally.
Oh, okay,
I did.
okay.
I was the accomplice. I made it happen.
Probably drove over and picked him up.
Yeah.
Where
Meet up at
are
church.
you? We're just driving around. Get home.
Yeah.
Did he ever tell you about the time he was on campus and he called you?
I actually called you.
Oh, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She
That was
was
the one
there.
time I wasn't there.
I called you and you didn't pick up. I was like, I gotta get home right now.
Well, I was sitting on the stairs when
Yeah, get rid of
one of my children
One of her
came
children.
back in and sitting there in the dark, and she met me at the steps.
Oh, ouch.
I've been there.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
Just got the mail.
We will have a discussion tomorrow, just so you know.
I'm going back to bed.
I think the worst thing I didn't tell you about was like, I'd be like, oh, we're at his place, but then we're like cheesing someone's car.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He,
I think it was Mitchell's actually.
it wasn't Mitchell's house. It wasn't his car, it was the side of his house.
It was his window. Mitchell's window.
Yeah.
Window, don't ruin anything.
My
else.
sister used to do that. She and her friends would go to Kroger into like the discounted cart thing and buy all this canned food, and they kept can openers in their cars. And there was this one girl that they didn't like. It was my sister's now husband. It was his ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
She
ex-girlfriend.
hated my sister, and they would get all this stuff and then go dump it all over her car.
Ooh.
Yeah. I didn't destroy people's cars.
I didn't destroy it.
I TP'd,
Huh?
but
Oh, shoot.
I think.
Don't get
yeah,
Zoe in trouble, but Zoe and I did the same thing in high school. We did the toilet paper.
Oh, I told
Yeah.
We
you
did the
that.
fake stove and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Zoe and I were reckless.
We did the Vaseline and he got caught on
Yeah.
his camera.
Oh.
It was
No,
someone
yeah,
we
it
knew.
It
oh
was
my
Justin's
gosh, one time
friend, yeah.
Avery and Ellie snuck out and went TPing in the back of the neighborhood, and Doug, Ellie's dad, could see on his phone where they were, and so of course he caught them and told us that they were sneaking out, and all Kenny was concerned about was, where did you get that toilet paper?
Did you get it from downstairs? I
That better not be our toilet paper.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
All back in shrimp money.
What do they do? Tea?
Toilet paper's harmless.
Where'd they get it from?
Yeah, I did that. My sister was the one who would sneak out. I never did sneak out. But
It's the whole respect thing, but then I also was, like, my biggest thing was, like, I was always worried that something was gonna,
Exactly.
like, happen.
exactly.
Like, she had a curfew, Stan had a curfew,
Right.
and I just was always afraid that she was gonna get, like,
Yep.
snatched up or
Right.
kidnapped or something
that
at
has
1 o'clock in
always
the
been my
morning. It's like,
biggest
nothing
fear.
good comes at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Forever
You're
and
just
ever.
like,
That is still my biggest fear. I mean,
yeah.
and especially like with them sneaking out and then driving around in the filthy whore. I mean,
Oh, it's always
You never know those
Zoe's
always burn
car.
down somewhere.
yeah,
You'd be like,
in that car, they're out in the middle of the night driving around. I mean,
I think the worst encounter we had was someone, West Point, we're just gonna.
West Point?
I don't want to say it, but we can just edit it out. There was like abandoned houses and stuff. And
Oh, yeah.
so we would go
My
into
kids
them.
went there.
Well, I had parked, and it was me and Sabrina, and you and Justin ran into the house, and this car goes by really slow, and he like parks, there's like a curve, I was here, he parked over here, and like, I see his door like come on, and I like run out the window, I'm like, Casey, get back in the car, and he starts running at us, and it was all like driving away,
Yeah,
they're like
that's
getting in the
not
car,
safe in the country.
Right.
and
Yeah.
so we
That's what
started
I'm
going.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
too
people will
deep.
defend their property or their neighbor's
Yeah, and
property.
that
Is this the old
That-
burned out one there on 700? The burned out one?
I think so.
There was like half burned, it's like burned.
It's off of 25, so like, you know the bend coming right into West
Leaving
Point?
all this out.
Okay.
Yeah. You go, instead of taking the bend, you just go straight over the really bad railroad tracks.
Okay.
It was that house off of that turn. And it was like, yeah. It was that hard turn and it was like right there. And they built a brand new one. So we would go, the burned down one.
Gary's old property. The one that
Oh,
Mitchell
oh, that
had,
one,
the one we
okay.
had to clean out.
Had to clean,
Yeah.
had to knock
That
down
was
the chimney.
Mm-hmm.
That was the worst
That's
encounter we've ever had.
And then Justin kicked in the cabinets.
We were throwing stuff at the toilets.
Everything that Gary wanted was
people
out.
are
I knew that.
People truly are gun happy, and you have to worry about
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
on someone's property, they're gonna pull.
I knew whose it was.
Yeah.
It was
But they
Gary's
didn't know
property.
you were there.
Jerry would have cared.
After that one, we kind of stopped going to them because
Mhm.
that one they tore down. The other one
After
fell
that, we
down.
kind of stopped going to
We
it.
stopped going.
Then we
stopped
started going to
being-
campus and
because
just
it was
yelling at people.
Bark at people, yell at people. I love you. I love you too. All right, Kendra wanted me to ask, do you regret us?
No,
Oh,
no,
God,
no. Move on.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. That was,
You want me to
no,
ask?
absolutely not.
No, never.
Absolutely not.
Were any of your kids a mistake? Like they just so
Like
happened.
Like an accident.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
And not a mistake, an accident.
Like a oopsie daisy.
Oopsie baby.
No,
An oopsie baby.
oopsie baby.
All right, so we'll go from Connie again and go left. What's the most rebellious thing that you've done in your teenage years?
I don't know. My parents were kind of like I am. I mean, they would let me go out and do stuff.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it wasn't unusual for like house parties and things like that, and a lot of drinking. So I just call my parents and just say, hey, not coming home.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. I don't think I did anything. I mean, I was firstborn kid, so it was usually pretty good. I didn't.
I think the whole reason I didn't do a lot of stupid stuff is because you like let me go out. So I wasn't like I have to like
Lied
I
about it.
have to do
Right.
this.
I've
So I was
always
just
been, and I've always said straight up, I'm
Yeah,
like,
scary.
they're your choices. Like, I'm not bailing you out if you screw up. So think long and hard about what you're doing, because if you make a bad choice, it's yours to live with, not mine. And so I've always pretty much said, you know, here are the guidelines, stay within them. And the reason they're here is because, you know.
I can imagine.
Bad
potentially,
choices.
Mom,
Yeah.
I'm in jail. Tough chick.
Yep.
What's
Oh,
your bail?
yeah.
Absolutely.
What's
yeah,
your
I
bail?
know. Yeah, that's worth a couple days there. You have fun with that. Let me know how
How long are you
that
gonna
goes.
be? Couple weeks?
But
Good.
Come out with this.
Yes.
I got this on for you guys.
She's drawing it as you guys are coming in the door.
oh god.
So
Yeah,
like,
so-
no arson or anything like
No
that?
arms. No bank robberies.
I'll have to think about it, because
Trespassing.
something might.
No counterfeiting money.
No, maybe not.
I'm sure we did some. Oh, I do remember one. It wasn't
Money
teenage.
laundering.
It wasn't. So,
You're a
my
dog.
mom always worked, so we always had a babysitter.
Mhm.
And so we lived in this neighborhood, and John Business, his mother would babysit us because she was a stay-at-home kind of beaver cleaver, you know, and June Cleaver, yep. And so one morning, it was summertime because it was school break and stuff, and like I said, I probably was 10 or 11, so my sister was about 8, something like that, and then John was, I think, Natalie's age. Anyway, we were out. There was they were building condos at the far end of the neighborhood, and we went over there. And for some reason, I don't know what, but the so it had a basement, and they were in the midst of putting all the cinder blocks up, and there were piles of cinder blocks, and some were concreted in, some weren't. And for whatever reason, the three of us get down into the basement, and we start pushing over and breaking
Oh, the
cinder block.
foundation?
Yeah, the cinder block. And it was before 8 o'clock or whatever, so then about that time, and I was the oldest one, I see the
Fireplace went out.
I see the contractors pulling up, and I'm like, we gotta go, and so I dig my way out of the basement, and then John does. Well, my sister gets stuck. She couldn't get out because she was smaller, and I take off. I just left them, and then John followed, and then my sister got caught. So then she had to tell him where she came from. So by the time I had circled the whole neighborhood, made it all the way back, I come in the back door. There's the contractor with my sister talking to Mrs. Fismus, and we were in trouble. So that was probably the worst thing I ever did. But
So what happened? What was the punishment?
I mean, nothing. My parents didn't. I mean, I'm sure I was grounded, but Mom was really bad about grounding. Like, never lasted long. And I don't remember. I mean, I got yelled at, but that was it. My dad used to spank us. I probably got a spanking. Who knows? But yeah, that was probably the worst thing I can remember. That like was bad.
All right, Karen, can you top that?
Yes, I worked on
Yeah,
it.
you-
No, I've got two
It's like a
stories.
bad thing.
You left to join the circus.
I did. I was in the circus. I think I was in high school. It was the last day of school. I'd ride the bus to school because I lived out in the country and I did not have a car. And so when the bus driver dropped us off, my neighbor, who was a year younger than me, we decided, I don't know why we did this, but when we got off the bus, we went to the end of the bus and just like drew all over the side of the bus. And the bus driver saw us in the mirror, and so she got out and she was like, I'm bringing this bus back here and you're cleaning this bus. And so I lived in a neighborhood, it's like out in the country, and you go up this big hill and there's 10 houses, subdivision. But there's woods everywhere. So he and I went and hid in the woods. And because we knew we were in trouble. And so then, sure enough, here comes this bus up into our neighborhood. And I'm like, we have to go. We have to turn ourselves in. And so we ended up cleaning the side of the bus. And then another time, I was a senior, and me and my best friend and 2 other guys climbed a water tower, and we spray painted
No
The
way.
water tower.
Let's do that. I'm like, write that down. So
and
destroy
we never got
information.
caught doing that.
Destroy a house, spray paint a bus, and what else? What were we doing?
Water
Climb a
tower.
water
Water
tower.
tower.
Climb a water tower.
All right, bet. All right, so we're gonna have to cut this one again.
It's been a half hour.
25 minutes.
Just about. And,
We are so fun.
I
It
know.
goes so
I
fast.
know.
I told you guys.
They're all gonna go get their Bloody Marys, and
Yeah.
we'll be right back. So yeah, we're back, by the way.
Okay, so most rebellious thing. This
Oh,
Your
most
turn.
rebellious. On this side.
Most rebellious thing you've ever
Like-
done? As a teenager, as a
Rebellious to say
illegal.
Oh, now we got our house.
Fess up.
I mean,
Right here, speak right here.
like I had a friend that had an older sister that really did not like this other person.
Mhm.
So she paid us and drove us
Wow, she paid us.
to do stuff to her car.
How much
So-
did you get paid?
I think she was like $20 a piece.
That's a good deal.
I mean, I don't really remember, but I remember being like, oh my gosh, because we were younger, like,
Yeah.
but $20 back in the 80s
Oh,
was
yeah.
like huge.
That was huge. That was huge.
Yeah, but she drove us too, so.
Mm.
So
She
what
wanted
did
this
she
girl
do
taken
to the
care
car?
of.
That's what I
Huh?
want. What'd you do to the car?
Well,
Gas
there
tank.
were, we put some mothballs in the gas tank.
Serious stuff.
Yeah.
Break that down.
Of course, I don't know. I honestly have no clue about stuff, so the older sister was just telling us.
You're like, it'll keep the moss
Here,
away.
do this, do this, do this, yeah, so that's what we did. And then we dumped like oatmeal on the windshield, and, because when you wake up in the morning and you start that thing, it goes. Well,
All for the time.
yeah,
Nice.
stuff like that. So, I mean, that's illegal, but it's not really rebellious. I mean, I feel like
It's
rebellion.
not rebellious when you get paid.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, no kidding.
It's called a job.
I was a hitman. It
Yeah,
wasn't-
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Hit lady.
Mom, rebellious.
Alright, so I had to move between my junior year in high school and my senior year in high school.
Ooh.
So my senior year in high school, I was on a totally different school. I may or may not have been a bit rebellious that senior year.
A little
But
angry.
little angry. I've apologized since then, but I was kind of a bitch. And probably one of the worst things. So remember when you go get a Moose Cup? Remember Moose Cups at Hardee's? Well, you get a Moose Cup full of Cherry Mr. Misty. And cherry vodka goes in there very, very nicely in the cherry. So we take our Moose Cups with our Cherry Mr. Misty and vodka into the
Vodka.
basketball games. And by,
Flashbacks.
and by halftime, we were like so gone. And they were like, wow, you guys are really happy. Yes, we are. We had a good
Sponsored
time.
by
at
Hardee's.
Hardee's and Dark Eyes.
Oh, dark eyes.
Dark
Cherry
eyes.
vodka.
Oh my
Dark Eyes
God.
Cherry Vodka. You don't,
Never
Dark eyes.
had it.
That's my
That is a
first
headache. Just
experience.
wait. That's a headache in a bottle.
it was awesome.
Ugh.
Well, we
It's
were
like
usually
looking
sober by
at
the time
blue.
we ended the basketball game, but we were hammered. But we want to get hammered.
Cherry vodka.
And we'd be drinking right in front of the principal.
I did that. Well, I didn't drink in front of him, but that was
That's all right.
that was the first time I ever drank when we did cherry vodka. And then we always had a dance after every
Yep.
basketball or
Yep.
football game.
Yep.
And so we went to the dance, and I mean, I was going faster. And we always had to show our ID, and the principal was at the door, and so I pull out my ID and I stuck it right in his face like this. And I mean, like, how did he not think, what is wrong with this girl? And so
Maybe she just needs to go in and sober up. Maybe that's what he was
I
thinking.
went into the dance, and I went into the bathroom.
Yeah, because
Cherry
that
vodka
was
was
back,
there.
that was the back in the day where they didn't breathalyze you
Oh,
going into
no.
prom or anything like that. No, it was
No,
a
he
free
probably
for all.
thought Karen Bonenkamper, you
Well,
know,
of course, no.
she's just being silly.
Yeah, she's on
She
the
smells bad.
she's on the up and up.
You ask the next one.
That's my next one. So, ex-boyfriends. Favorite one, least favorite one.
Is there just
Ones
like a
that you-
specific
No.
one that's like?
As long as we don't have to say why.
If I could go back in time, I would just do so many things different, and it would be not have this boyfriend. Because I dated the same boyfriend pretty much through high school, and what a loser. What a loser he is. I mean, like, yeah, I mean,
He's gonna watch this too.
oh, he's not he's like in a halfway house. He's like a meth head, and
Oh.
he
Did not turn out well
no.
because Karen broke up with him.
You know, it was like one of those things where you have blinders
Yeah.
on. I
Yeah.
mean, because he was in Kenny's class, and I mean, even Kenny will tell me stories like nobody really liked him. He was kind of a snake, and like what was wrong with me? Why did I not see this? And so, yeah, it just not good. But,
Yeah. The old boyfriend that was probably on the rebellious tour of my senior year. The rebellious tour was, yeah.
Regrettable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just added
Yeah.
no space.
He's like, my parents aren't gonna like you? Sign me up.
You're the one.
You're the one.
No, I wasn't thinking that. No, I
I
started
did.
dating this kid. I went with him in junior high, and then he went to high school. But then, like my freshman year, we got back together, and they dated him all through high school, and I was in love with this guy. But no, God,
Dodge a bullet.
what
Uh-huh.
was I thinking? So,
Thank goodness parachute pants got you.
I know,
oh
yeah.
yeah. No, I didn't know.
And the
that.
circus.
Better
She
shoot
was
pants
with the
time.
Well, after that, like, did anyone settle? You settled with Bob.
Look at her.
I mean, that, you know, you and Kyle, that part's not a regret, but yeah, it was, what did I do? I missed the signs, clearly.
She popped me out. She was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like,
I did. I really did. I woke up on a Wednesday morning and I said, I'm done. He's like, what? We need to get a divorce. He did not see it coming.
It was a Wednesday morning. That's funny that you remember that.
5:30.
It was like a milestone.
5:30 a.m. You're like, wake up. We're done. We're done.
No, because he would get up and exercise.
Um,
And then he'd come back into the room and he was like sweaty and hadn't brushed his teeth, and then he wanted sex, and I was like, not today. And I did. I literally was like sat on the side of the bed, and he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, and all I kept saying to myself was, just say it, just get it over with, just do it.
we
And I did.
in
I
my
was
room.
like, we need a divorce. He's like, what? And I was like, we need a divorce. And then, if nothing else, what solidified it was, as Kyle was in freshman in high school, and I was going to drive Kyle to school that day, and Bob's like, oh, I'll take him. Drives him to school and tells Kyle on the way to school, yeah, your mom asked for a divorce this morning. And he comes back and he tells me that later, that morning. And he's like, yeah, I told Kyle. And I was like, why would you do that? He was
Yeah.
crying. I was like, no shit.
I like cried because I saw Kyle cry. I was like second grade. I didn't even know what divorce meant. I was like,
No.
guess this is sad.
Yeah.
Better
They
join in.
seem cordial now, and
Yeah, it took a couple years.
It-
It's a couple years.
Yeah, it was pretty rough for a while. And eventually Kyle kind of calmed down too, but yeah. But I miss the signs on the front end there. When your mother says, don't marry him, and I went ahead and did it anyway.
it's not hard for you to hear.
No, I think
No.
she knows it. I've been pretty honest
Yeah.
about stuff.
Because I was so young. I didn't really understand. And then I got older. And then,
She would ask questions like, why is Judy so happy? Because I finally got divorced, which is my mom. She would ask those questions like, why is she so happy?
me walking around for like 8 Christmases, I'm like, woo!
That's true.
Well, that worked out for me.
Yeah.
I know, I honestly used to brag about it. My friends, I'll be like, they're like, yeah, I just had Christmas with my family. I'm like, well, I have 4.
It's gonna really suck when you go to have kids though, and you feel like you have to split all your
True.
time up with
Yes.
everybody.
Yes.
You're
Yeah,
just gonna feel like
I gotta go on.
guilty
Gotta
because
go
you
track.
can't get to everybody, and you know.
I mean, the thing is, if push came to shove, like, I mean, Bob and I are fine in a room together. It's not like we're at each other's throats. So, like, if that got to be a situation, I mean, graduations and things like that,
Yes.
I mean, I'll forever
Especially
have to see
when
them.
enough time has passed, it's
Yeah.
easier to just
Yeah.
like
Their weddings, their
come together.
weddings.
And,
Yep.
yes,
It's
exactly.
just gonna be what it is. So, yeah.
Sure.
Favorite boyfriend and
Grandbabies.
and what do you say? Favorite boyfriend?
Ex-boyfriend.
Or
Well,
favorite
I said
ex-boyfriend and
My ex-boyfriend was the rebellious.
Rebellious.
One night, I'm like, yep, my parents aren't gonna like
Did you
this
have
one.
one?
a favorite ex or favorite ex.
Not
Or-
favorite.
least
Good
favorite.
Good or
Yeah.
bad?
Good or bad?
Good or
Yeah,
bad?
no,
When
like
they-
I totally had
A most memorable one?
yeah. It was so fun, but he was kind of jerky. But I'm glad that I like went through it because my dad and mom raised me to be a strong person, and I learned of what I will put up with and what I won't put up with at a very early age. So when we came back from vacation, I dropped him off at his house, and he said, "I'll call you later," and I was like, "No, please don't ever call me again." And I drove off. And that is a true story.
See ya.
Yes. Yes.
Break that down.
I'm like noted.
Well, I did tell these two that when they went to Montana, I'm like, if you guys can survive a trip in a car together and we haven't killed each
never had
other,
a problem.
then it's pretty good. I mean, you know, your first big vacation and,
Never
that
had
was
a
pretty
problem. It was insane.
Yeah.
We were just,
hey, there's a wrong turn. Whoops.
we kept on track.
Yeah, I think we did.
We were gonna go to Devil's Tower, and wherever that is, and we're like, yeah, it's like a 30-minute drive, and we're like, we can see it from out here. You could. We're like,
It was that tight, we're like, I might even not.
10 miles away across the road.
yeah, we're like,
We
keep
saw it.
going.
That one. I see it, it's not very close.
Okay, We just want to know who's like your least favorite family member.
You have extended family or immediate, I guess.
I know yours because I already asked you this question.
Yeah. I'm probably the exes, like ex-sister-in-laws and things like that.
Are they all still here in town?
They're
So you
nice.
see so you see them?
I see them at events and
At
things
events.
like that, yeah. Some of them just hold a grudge. I'm like, it wasn't your marriage.
Right.
Let it go. So, yeah, I don't really have a lot of respect for that kind of stuff. I'm just like, it was none of your business to begin with. So,
Right.
the fact that they hold a grudge, I'm like, that's just weird.
I'm mad.
Yeah.
For something.
Over something that does not affect them at all.
Yeah,
He's still your brother, so move on.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I wasn't his first wife, I wasn't his last. So,
Side note, I just learned that last week. Like, not last week, but like 2 weeks ago. That my dad had like a marriage before my mom. And then I told Kyle. Kyle had no idea.
he didn't?
I told Kyle at dinner. And he was like, what? and then we're like, how do we bring this up? Like, Merry Christmas, so you had a wife before mom. Or we
But there's no
thought,
kids.
like,
I was gonna say others.
were we
Yeah,
gonna wait
steps
until
or
like he gets married and be like third time's the charm? Like, how are we gonna hit
I
him
was
with
gonna
it?
say, is he married again? Or
No.
does he still live out by us?
Yeah. He's
Where's he-
moved like twice since then.
Okay.
Yeah. Just kind of ping ponging around.
I don't have a least favorite extended. Well, maybe the one that got burnt down a house, but wasn't my house.
That'll do it.
The cousin and yeah, it was bad.
Have I met
That's just
these?
bad news.
Have I met the cousin?
No,
Oh.
not that cousin. No,
Okay.
wrong side.
Oh, gotcha.
Those cousins you met were all okay.
Okay.
Her cousins, not mine.
Anyone else?
Anybody
No,
else
I don't
have?
have one.
Loving
No,
families.
I like Hawthorne family.
There you go. Alright, we're almost to our list, so we're almost done.
We're getting there.
This is gonna be our longest one, for sure.
Which of our friends do you not like? We hang out with like a lot of what?
Oh, you guys
She's
are
my other S person. I can't not like her.
Because we hang out with a lot of the same people for the most part here. So I don't know if there's ever someone that came over and you were like, ugh.
I don't think so.
Maybe friends from high school or anything like that.
maybe like exes too.
No, yeah, that was actually what was wrong with your child's ex.
Okay.
Clinging. But anyway, the friend that
Alright.
the friend that I don't like.
I don't think I have one.
Yeah, a friend that I don't really like.
Yeah.
They hang out
She's
with.
pretty
No,
well.
I mean, like, I love all of you guys. All of Zoe's friends.
Except that kid Casey. I don't
That
know.
Casey kid.
Hate him, dude.
And I mean, like,
Oh,
Zoe's
Maggie.
friends, their moms are my best friends, so.
He's the one that like you just kind of put up with.
He just comes around, you're like, oh.
Oh, Lacey brought Kendra.
There you go. Alright.
That's pretty much.
Now, if you ask me about my oldest son's friends, there's a couple there, but not
Does he
Casey's.
happen to live with them?
Yeah, that's true too.
I figure she picked up for a reason. There's gotta be a reason, so.
Right?
Yeah, I forgot about the last one. Alright, do you guys think that our podcast is lame? Do you guys like it?
No, I don't think it's lame. We're on it.
True.
Yeah.
It can't be lame now, especially.
It's good. Yeah, it's gonna be like,
It's
The
gonna-
most hits ever.
yes. It's gonna be so popular.
It will after the
Or-
title.
Uh-huh.
What's the title gonna be?
You'll find out.
You gotta watch it.
Yay.
Alright,
It's a
so
bad mom's Christmas.
That's what,
maybe close.
I just watched that movie again. It's,
I know, I love
I
it.
love that show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright.
they kept telling me I was Carla. I'm like, what? I don't think so. I don't cuss that much. Maybe.
I cuss so much.
I do too.
Yeah, you
I do
know,
too.
you cuss a lot when your daughter starts cussing and starts offending you. Like, that's too much. That's too much. You need to stop saying that.
When the dog comes
Never-
running
But
through
since
the
my kids have come home, like, all three of them are cussing all the time. I'm like, you need to clean up your mouth. It's too much.
I'm so
Sorry,
clean
Mom.
around my roommate Evelyn.
Oh, yeah.
And then the problem
Evelyn
is like,
cuss?
I've
Okay,
heard
I
her cuss
can
once
imagine
on
that.
accident in high school after a soccer game. She said bullshit and then she cried. So, and then I've never heard it again.
I don't feel like cussing's a big deal. I just don't,
Right.
like, I never really cared so much about my kids cussing.
Yeah, I cuss all the time.
But I just, like, didn't want them, like, cussing, like, to people. Like,
Right,
I
we
didn't
don't
want
cuss
them
at
saying,
people. Yes.
Yeah.
you fucking bitch, or something like that. But if they drop something, they're like, fuck, that's totally different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yep.
It's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
And
comes-
I think it's context for sure,
Yes.
because you can make yourself look
'Cause
kind
I
of ignorant
cuss,
with the way you
yes.
talk. I mean, so it's definitely.
Well, our dog comes like running through the house.
Bounding through the
And
house.
she's like, you fucking bitch, get back here. Get here, God damn it. I'm like,
I think I
She understands.
I think I've said to you, I've called you a little asshole before.
Oh, I've come
I mean, I'm like, you little asshole. Just in jest, though.
Us, we're just
That's right.
all the
We're
time.
tight. That's a greeting in my house. Come in the driveway.
You're like,
It is. It's a greeting in my house. So don't be offended if I ever flip you off and come in my driveway. It's a greeting.
yeah, our handshake, we have like our own and we just, oh my goodness, there it is. And we just do this, like, we'll be in public, like at the gym and we're like, and like walk away.
Oh, you guys went to the gym together.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, because if not, I get old men staring at me. Like just the other day, he was just like staring. So then I throw my weights down and I stand there like this. And I just stare right back. I get so mad.
See?
You're not allowed to hit them.
So, like, you could get stolen.
right.
This is why we have
Not
a
by,
curfew.
not by the
This is why we have a
80-year-old.
curfew.
That I
Yeah. Like, did you guys, either of you have curfews?
Huh?
So, I mean, did
She
that
was,
make you
usually
mad,
she was like,
or?
just be home by.
Yeah, depending on the situation, who he was
Yeah.
with and where
If I
he was
was at
going. If he was
Mitchell's-
over at her house,
I know it's for the night, but
yeah, north of the Net Mitchell's. If your house, because it's like down the street, it'd be like,
Right.
and if Savannah's having a party, it'd be like 1 or so. But I trusted he said he was gonna be where he was, because I could find my iPhone.
Right.
As we all know, I can do that and scare the shit out of him. One night, he was supposed to be home at midnight one night, and I would text him, "Are you almost here?" Like, a little bit after midnight. No response. 12:30, no response. I'm starting to get mad. Now I'm mad because now I'm thinking there's something really wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, find my iPhone, and it has that noise that you can make. Scared them both half to death. I'm like,
I
Mom,
was
point.
asleep. I was
He was
asleep.
asleep.
like
They were
hours.
asleep, and I scared them half to death. I will be right home. Good plan on
I
that one.
remember
I'll be right
Savannah was out with you. And she was supposed to be home at 1 o'clock in the morning.
It's like 104. We're like booking it.
No, and it was after 1, and I kept calling her, and she ended up answering after, I don't know, it was like 20 minutes or something. And you guys were at Walmart.
Come on.
What is with Walmart?
It's
I want you guys to tell me
But anyway,
what is up
okay,
with Walmart.
so
It's open.
I just was like pissed because I'm like, you can't. Your phone is right there on your. You know you're looking at your phone.
I think I remember
You
this.
should know what time it is. And at that point, it's just kind of like be responsible, kind of teaching them responsibility too.
Mhm.
But do you remember this? And so
She's like, no.
so she came home, and then the next day I talked to her, and I was like, okay, you did it to yourself. So
Oh,
were you
yeah.
either getting Life 360 or
I remember
your
that.
Snapchat thing? I was like, you did it to yourself. You know you. And so she actually told me to get Life 360 and not the Snapchat like location
Oh, turn it on.
because she didn't want the rest of her friends knowing where her location was, so she could like
And
take it off or take it off.
Also, I was seeing hacks about how to like finesse Life 360.
She's
Like,
like,
I want to do because you can see like when you turn off your Snap apps
Yep.
and like turn them on,
Well, you
like
can see
how
when you
active
turn
you
on
were.
Live 360 too, because that's what Avery Madison would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I like had this whole plan, like take the SIM card out and like put it in this other phone. I thought I could totally like hack the system, but I never really did.
Never
Yeah,
had
so
that.
but I was
That's a
like,
lot of
it's
work.
because I like did not do it for the longest time, but I was like, you know what? That had me so scared. 'Cause
I do
was
remember
like,
that.
because I was nothing good comes.
Right.
Like
There's,
after,
what
like,
can
midnight,
you be
1
doing
o'clock.
after 1 in the
I have the
morning?
videos of that.
Especially with all of the stuff that I've been seeing about people being approached and like
Yeah.
taken or whatever.
Right.
We were
So
playing
like
with
just
a
be on by
chain.
one.
Yeah.
If
the
you're
thing,
not doing,
we had, like,
if you're not
helmets on.
doing anything great and funny by one, you know what I mean? It's like,
I thought
You-
it was funny.
yeah, between 7 and 1, they can do something fun. Just get home at 1.
Yeah, that's
So she
kinda
actually chose 360, but now I think she actually uses it like I do, because she'll like check to see like where I am,
Yeah.
if she wants to know
Yeah,
where
I
I
check
am
you
or
guys all the
whatever.
time.
Yeah, these dogs, is when we're on the motorcycle especially.
Yeah, I found this.
Oh,
But that's the
Yeah.
thing though, like
There you
as
go.
a parent, there's just always that constant worry.
Mhm.
And, you know, in the middle of the night, like what could you be doing? And
Well, exactly, so when he didn't answer, in my head, he's in a ditch somewhere.
Really?
Yep.
Right, I tried to text her and she's still asleep, and I'm like,
Well, that's just,
I
that's
was about
just
ready to
it.
drive over there, because his phone showed that he was at her house. But did he leave his phone and they're out running around?
Right.
You were literally in bed. I was.
There-
So listen,
They were asleep.
so Savannah has 360, right? So then she proceeds to tell me after are we off?
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
You're at 22 minutes.
So we're not recording?
We're
We are
recording. You're recording.
So we're not telling the story.
Well, I don't know.
Just say it. It's fine.
Well, she told me that she used to take her phone and put it in her friend's mailbox. If she said, I'm seeing
at
X
so-and-so's
at
house.
so-and-so's
This
house, and she, actually, it might have been that night that
throw
you
it in
guys
the
were there,
mailbox.
when we were playing Buzz or whatever. Oh, when we were playing Buzz. I think you told me that night, right?
No.
Dose, actually, we're playing
Because
Dose.
she said she would leave it in this person's mailbox, whoever she said she was staying at, and then she'd go do whatever, and then I could check her like
And it looks
360,
like she
and it
was
was like
where she's supposed to be.
That's so smart.
Alright.
I never had that because the only time you got on me is I came back at like 3 and you were like, don't do that, you woke me up. And then I was like, okay, so I started getting home
Yeah,
at like
it
12.
does. It
Yeah.
gets unnerving.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna stay. Just, if you're supposed to be home by 1,
Yes.
call me and say, I'm just
I
gonna
don't
stay.
care where you stay, just as long as I know you're somewhere.
You're okay, and I don't expect you home anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
alright,
hope you-
are we good? I think
Are
this
we
is,
done?
this
Are
has
we
been
done?
the longest episode, I hope you guys know.
Sorry.
The mom podcast. Alright, so we have one more question.
So maybe you should only be like 2 moms at a time.
Maybe.
No.
We have one more question. Do you guys consider yourself MILFs? Because our viewers do.
Well, I mean, I used to, but not anymore.
Mom?
No.
Connie? Karen? Yeah.
Are we fun? I think
Of course.
we are fun.
Yes.
We are fun.
So we're fun.
I like the milk, Casey.
Alright, good night.
Alright, we're gonna end this one right here. My name is Casey Aaron. This is the KNSC podcast. Subscribe. I'll put the Patreon somewhere. This is my co-host.
Kendra Brewer.
This is
Sandy Herring.
Carrie Richard.
Karen Edwards, I'm not a golf.